So I do want to bring you up to date, and I want to tell you a little bit more about some of the things that has transpired since my last stream, which was a little while ago. Okay. Because I told you guys I would be busy. I told you guys I had things I had to do. I tried to do some of them on live, but other ones I couldn't do. It just was what it was, right? So I guess I can start off now, since I'm going to be, bringing you up to date or up to speed on what's been transpiring. I'll say this first. I'll say, welcome, right? Welcome. This is the Real Rich Bees, right? See it up top? Know that anybody that comes to my channel, that comes to my lives, hey, I try to show you all love. You know what I'm saying? I really do, because I know that um, you could have went anywhere in the world. You could have went to anybody's stream in the world, but you've decided to come to mine. That deserves some celebration, right? So I'm super excited, super stoked, if you will, that you guys came and are willing to check me out, right? If you see me on the YouTube, if you see me on the Twitch, if you see me on the TikTok, I really appreciate any likes, any shares, like anything like that, comments. I welcome it all, right? I welcome it all because I freely give the information that I know or that I figure out, right? I freely give that to you guys. I'm not charging you for none of it. I'm not even looking for you necessarily to subscribe or to like or whatever. But if you do, I'm thankful for it. You know what I'm saying? What I really want is the interaction, right? That's really what I'm looking for more than anything else. The reason by which I want the interaction is because it makes it makes the information that I deliver more relevant, right? The things that I say can be more personalized, right? A lot of times I'm talking about where I'm at, some of the things that I'm going through, and some of the challenges that I may encounter, and how I might have overcome said challenge, or what I may be dealing with in family life or something like that, right? But you guys sometimes have questions, right? I know you have questions. Why? Because sometimes I get texts, or I get Facebook messages, or I get, DMs, right? On certain platforms, I get whispers, right? On Twitch. The thing is that two-way communication can happen in real time, right? That's what the chat is for. So that two-way communication can happen in real time. If it happens in real time, then I'm able to give you more understanding or more clarity into some of the things that we may be talking about, right? That's my goal. My goal is to bring you all clarity. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, because that's on you. Whatever you choose to do in your life, that's on you. I had a conversation just the other day where I was talking about right or wrong, right? And I tried to get across to someone that there's no such thing as right or wrong. There's no such thing as uh, uh, calling something right. If there is something that everybody says, oh, well, they did the right thing. What is the right thing, right? The right thing can only be right because us as a community has said that this thing is right. If we all come together and we say, you know what, that thing is wrong, now it's the wrong thing, right? So that's why I'm saying there's no such thing as right or wrong. Let me give it to you another way, okay? Here's another way to think about it. If everybody in the US says that it's wrong to drive on the left side of the street, right? That's wrong, right? Think about it. When you were brought up, they say that you need to walk down the right hand side of the wall, right? Or aisle or hallway, right? When you go to school, they say walk on the right side, keep to the right. So in the US, we all say that being on the right side is the right of way, right? The right side. However, if you go across the pond, right, over to England, they drive on the left side. So is it still wrong? Or if you go over there driving on the right side, would you then be wrong? Right? This is why I'm saying, like, right or wrong only depends on who's the judging party of what's right or wrong. There is no ultimate right or wrong. There's things that we might say is morally wrong or morally right, but still, I would submit to you that we can run the case of if somebody tries to harm my family and you know I off them, then am I wrong? Right? If we go to the court and we, go through the whole court process, they may say, well, I was just defending myself and my family. Right? So I'll get off. They're not going to consider what I did was wrong. Again, we can say, well, morally, it may be because a life was gone, right? A life expired. However, that doesn't mean that the action was wrong. Doesn't mean it was right either. It just means it's something that happened. It's something that happened in that moment because of certain circumstances that drove a person to do a certain thing, right? Some people may not like that. Okay. Some people might not like that, but why not? They don't like it because they may say, well, what about the kids? Right? Kids didn't do anything wrong to somebody. So why is somebody else able to do something wrong to them? Right? It should be wrong no matter what. I agree. However, I look at it from a sense that if nobody did wrong to the kid, but yet the kid is getting a bad harvest, if you will, right? Like reaping something that they didn't sow, then you can look at it from a sense that, well, there's a such thing as sins of the father, right? You can put it in another context. You can say sins of the parent, right? Because there's things that we do as parents that might not be good, right? So if we're sowing bad seeds, right? And remember, what I said was, I don't believe there's a such thing as right or wrong. I do believe that there's a such thing as good and bad, right? Interesting, right? That's two different thought processes behind it. So good is something that's uplifting, something that helps, something that brings up society, right? Remember I said a rising tide raises all boats. Y'all know me. I've said it several times on this stream, right? But anything bad is going to lower the tide. It's going to divide, right? It's going to take away from, it's going to subtract, right? To me, there's a such thing as good or bad, not a such thing as right or wrong. Because if you do something bad, that doesn't make it right or wrong. Because then it's based in context. It's based in circumstances, right? To me, all of that goes into whether something is going to be considered good or bad. Was your actions good? Was your actions bad? Right? If this was church, we would say it's not on us to judge, right? It's not on a human to judge. But it also says, if we were to look at the Bible, that uh uh you can judge a tree by the fruit it bears. So, in a sense, there are things that we're supposed to judge. We're not supposed to judge the people, we're supposed to judge the action. Right? Now, we can't condemn somebody and say, "Oh, you're going down," right? Or you're going to heaven, right? We can't say we can't do that because we don't know. We don't have the full context. We don't have the full circumstance, right? We don't know what the experience of their life is supposed to be. I believe that everybody is supposed to have a certain experience in their life. When they came to this planet, they were birthed into this planet already with a certain path that they're supposed to go down. Sometimes we say, well, oh, they were so great, they should have achieved a whole lot more, but their life was taken away early. I don't believe that there's an early and late, right? Like some people, you know what? You stayed on this earth a little too long. You lasted too long. You done escaped death. No, you were just meant to still be here, right? If you were taken away early, not you, because if you're here listening to me, you weren't taken away early. But if someone's life is taken away early, what we would consider early, right? Because remember, it's the people around that's judging whether or not this action was something that we can agree was a good thing. If we do that, uh, then we're looking at it from being able to say, hey, this person should have had a longer life. They should have had more time, right? But that doesn't mean that that's the case. They may have come into planet, was birthed into this planet, and they have achieved exactly their purpose. Their purpose on this planet might have been just to help someone else realize that life is short, right? Their experience may be all that they were required to experience in their time on this planet. This is the way I'm seeing the world, okay? And I'm not looking at it with rose-colored glasses. I'm looking at it from a sense of reality, but also, well, what does the Bible say? Also, what does science say? Also, what does the legal system, how does that work? Like, I'm putting all of these pieces together because what I am is a connector, right? This is what I know about myself. I can see a lot of things and find the connections within them. And once I find the connections, then I can say, you know what? This thing goes with that thing goes with this thing. Why? Because if you believe that there's a creator of this universe, right, that we live in, then that would also mean that each thing that was created would be created for a purpose, right? There's nothing on this planet that's created without a purpose. You can't even name one. Everything on this planet is created with a purpose. As a matter of fact, you know what? If you could name something on this planet that was created without a purpose, put it in the chat right now. Go put it in the chat. I want to see. I'll wait. I really will. But I don't think there's anything that you can find that's created in this on this planet, whether it's created by man, whether it's created by God, whether it's created by some whatever. It doesn't matter. Everything that is created was created for a purpose, right? There will be no need for someone to create a microphone if they weren't trying to project sound, right? There'll be no need for anyone to create glasses if they weren't trying to see. There'd be no need for someone to create a cable if they weren't trying to either move data, right? Move data of some sort or power something of some sort. I don't believe there's anything that you can name that wasn't created with a purpose in mind. Now, there are things that's created that you might not know the purpose, right? You like, oh, why would somebody create that? It does nothing. No, it does something. It just has no purpose for you in your life, right? Think about it. If you live in a house with carpet, do you really have a need for a doorstop? To you, that wedge, which is a doorstop, might have no need, no purpose. There's no purpose in your life for it, right? There's no purpose for that for you. But that doesn't mean that someone who has hardwood floors don't need a doorstop. This is the thing I'm trying to say. That if we really, really look at the things that are created on this planet, even if you look at animals, right? Every animal in the animal kingdom, insect kingdom, bird kingdom, whatever, right? Fish, whatever kingdom you can think of, each one of those animals were created with a purpose in mind. I might not be able to tell you what the purpose of said animal is, but if you study that ecosystem, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find out what the purpose is. What role does that animal, insect, fish, right, fowl play in that ecosystem, right? If you've ever watched the movie, it's kind of recent. I think it's on Disney. But there's a movie called Hoppers, right? If you watch that movie Hoppers, what you'll find out is that everything has a purpose. What you'll also find out is that to understand, you have to become silent, right? You have to create a peaceful atmosphere for you to be able to even recognize that things are going on outside of you or that are unperceptible by the average person who is just moving and shaking in their own ecosystem, right? Because us as humans live on a certain plane of existence, okay? We live on a certain plane of existence. If we don't look, we won't even recognize the fact that there's an animal ecosystem living side by side with us, right? If we don't look, we won't even know or pay attention to the fact that there's a whole insect community that's living right along with us, right? If we don't look, we won't even see that there is a whole microbe, right? Parasites. All of these are all of these are other ecosystems that are living right alongside of our existence, and we don't even see it, we don't even recognize it, we don't even give it credit, we don't even care if it exists. A lot of times we'll harm that other ecosystem to our own end, right? So, for instance, I could be right now on this stream. This is what's in the forefront of my mind. Me communicating with you guys and trying to tell you, hey, there's other ecosystems out here that, we might need to be mindful of, right? But in the same instance, if a gnat flies in my face, I'm probably gonna clap that bad boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna clap that bad boy. Why? Because it's now interfering with my well-being, right? Now, is that right or wrong? Based in context. In that movie, hoppers, what they said is it's pond rules, right? Pond rules, rules. Pond rules. Pond rules says if somebody's hungry, then eat. And it doesn't matter whether you were just talking to this person that's in a different category. Like if you're let's say you're a bear, right? This is part of the movie. Say you're a bear and you go and you eat a beaver, right? Well, if the bear was hungry and they ate the beaver, that's pond rules. It doesn't mean that they can't be friends. It doesn't mean that they can't interact or whatever, right? But if one thing is hungry and the thing that it eats is right there, pond rules say let him eat. You know what I'm saying? And what we know is people and animals don't really eat their own kind. They eat others, right? Most animals in the animal kingdom do not eat their own species. That's cannibalism, right? Humans don't eat humans, or at least they're not supposed to, right? You don't see cats eating cats. You don't see dogs eating dogs, right? A lot of people think that they're supposed to also get the best of the thing that is in their same species, right? I need to be better than them. That's not really the thing, right? It's not about who's better. It's about even in the same species, this one has a purpose that this one doesn't have. You have a queen bee, you have a worker bee, right? You have a leader, you have a follower, right? You start talking about species, you have apex predators, and you have, I guess, sub predators, right? Like, because everything is going to eat something below it, so everything has a predator, right? Something that's going to eat you. The thing with the human race is, if we want to say, do we have a matter of fact, do you think that we have an apex predator? The human race I'm talking about? We have a predator that I think we don't even realize is a predator or that we are prey to it, right? Yes, your desires, right? You're prey to your desires, right? The flesh, if you will, if you want to, like I said, go back to the Bible or talk about, spiritually, right? The flesh is, can make other things, it can put you in a bad position, okay? It's like you're a prey. You yourself are a prey to your own flesh. Wild work. But the reason why I'm saying this is because we do have a predator. We have an apex predator that is killing us as humans, right? And I would posit to you that that predator is uh uh parasites. Yep, parasites. At any given time, you can have 10, 20 parasites in your body. You can have more, you can have less. Depends on how well you take care of your body, and it also depends upon what you eat. Depends on how well you cook it. Depends on whether or not you're eating raw or not. Like all this stuff depends, but all of it can introduce parasites. Now, what does a parasite do? A parasite is going to then begin to devour its prey. The thing about it is, though, there comes a point that they can't devour any more than. Why? Because if the parasite kills the host, so goes the parasite, meaning it kills itself, right? So there comes a point that it has to get in equilibrium, meaning it'll eat, but it's going to eat just enough, right? It's not going to overeat to kill you. It's going to eat to sustain itself, but it's going to continue to live and grow, and if it can, start to control how the host moves. This is the problem that we have as a human race. A lot of us are being controlled by the parasites within us, right? We feeding parasites through eating sugar in the US, definitely, right? Sugary, sweet things, alcohol, because why? Alcohol is going to then turn to sugar. A lot of alcohol is created from fermented products, which are fermented fruit, which is very, very sweet, right? When you drink it, turns to sugar. That's why so many people have diabetes now, right? Because we're eating a lot of sweet stuff. Now, the thing about it is, these parasites will start to control you by secreting certain types of things that make you crave certain types of things, right? I'm not getting into the weeds with it. I'm trying to keep it surface level. Well, not surface level. We're going deep, but I'm not going to give you all the technicalities of it, okay? That's not what I'm here for. You can find another streamer who can give you those technical terms. I just know that to be true, right? And I'm connecting the dots for you. You do your research into whichever area we're talking about at your leisure, okay? So if I'm telling you that parasites exist, and parasites are probably in your body, and they're secreting substances that's making you crave certain types of things and or use up your nutrients, right? They might be eating your nutrients. And so you become deficient in iron, deficient in calcium, deficient in like all these forms of nutrients that you're supposed to be getting. And you may be eating a lot, right? You might even be eating the right food, but yet your body's not taking in the nutrients. Why? Because the parasites are eating it first. They're not letting your body get it. Or if they are, very little. Just enough that you won't necessarily be dead, but you may be getting anemic because you're getting very little. So I'm saying all of that to try to say that, is that wrong, right? That a parasite is eating off the host? On rules, right? Is that wrong that an apex predator is going to eat something lower on the totem pole? Con rules, right? Why? Because everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Your purpose is no greater than my purpose, right? Your purpose may even affect my purpose, right? Your purpose can end up moving me closer to my purpose, and that's the only purpose you had. Your purpose was to do all that you've done in your life just to be able to interact with this person at this time in this moment and get them to make the next decision that's needed for the greater good of the species or of the planet or of a certain kingdom, right? Like I've covered all of this because I'm connecting dots on the fly now. Don't have no notes, off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? These are the connections that are coming together to be able to explain to you that right or wrong, there is no such thing. I've explained it now throughout this video, and hopefully you see the connections. Everything has a purpose. Purposes of each person, species, kingdom will affect or interact with other species, kingdoms, purposes, and it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's them doing what they're designed to do. That's just what they're designed to do. That doesn't mean that you need to give a pass for certain people of your same species that is trying to play you, harm you, treat you less than or whatever. That doesn't mean give people passes. That just means that because you understand that they have a certain type of purpose, that you can walk away, go do your own thing, or you can intersect with that with knowledge, right? And understanding, which is greater than all. If I have understanding, then I know how I need to operate, right? And if I know how I need to operate, then I can continue on with my purpose and not let that other person's purpose or that other species' purpose affect my purpose. It doesn't mean they won't interact with it, but it doesn't have to affect me, right? So hopefully this thought process, I know is a little bit different. I know you might have never heard anybody say this type of thing before. I get it. But for me, it's plain as day. It's plain as day when I think about all these connections and how that works. It works in that ecosystem. It works in that ecosystem. Even if you start looking at microbes and all of that kind of stuff, you start going deeper, right, into smaller forms of life, right, into the microsphere, if you will. You'll start to see that everything just mirrors itself. The same type of fights that we have on this level is the same type of fights that they have on a smaller level, right? The only thing different is the fact that we consider ourselves intelligent. If we're intelligent, then that would mean that we should be making better decisions, right? Our decision shouldn't be one of harming something else. If you're intelligent, you should be able to use that intelligence, couple that with wisdom and understanding, and operate with a knowing that everything on this planet has a purpose. And it's not my job to affect your purpose. You do what you do. I'm going to do what I do because all of us deserve to be here. If you're here for a reason. If you're meant to leave, you'll leave. So hopefully, what we talked about, you guys can take in, throw it around, talk about it amongst yourself, come back, jump in the comments, give feedback. I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all right with that. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is right or wrong. But I am showing you some connections, right? I'm showing you some connections. I'm showing you how things build upon themselves. I'm showing you like that there is another way to think about this. There's another way. And almost for anything that happens on this planet, there's always another way. I'm not going to say that there's a better way. A lot of people do say that. Oh, there's always a better way. No, sometimes it's not, right? Because any way that gets it done, it can be good enough, right? Did it handle the problem? Yeah. Could you have done it a different way? Probably. Would it be better? Don't know. Didn't do that way. It did this way. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm trying to get across is there can always be a different way to think about this. I look forward to maybe somebody pinning this and going through it and then put their 2 cents on it. right? Pass it around. Because this is definitely a different way of thinking about the world and how the world is operating and your purpose, your position in the world, right? In the past, we've done all kinds of videos talking about all of these things. If you look at the YouTube, on the YouTube, you'll see all of those videos, right? Like you see all those videos where I'm going through everything from planning to purpose to discernment to everything, right? Anything that has to do with you. Because my channel is a mindset channel. How can you become your best self if you don't get your mind right first? My job, if you will, is to help people transform their mind, right? Give you a different way to look at the world. Make you think differently about some of the things that you are coming into contact with because there's so many different either books or understandings that can be connected if you look around, right? If you look around, you'll see where this thing connects to this thing. And not everybody is a connector, right? Not everybody thinks the way that I do. I understand that. But now you, yes, you are connected to me, someone who does think like that. What does that mean? That means you don't have to do what I do. This is how my brain works. Because if I can sit here and talk to y'all for 36 minutes, 39 minutes, whatever, right? An hour. There's times I've been on these lives for 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm talking like this the whole time. And never lose sight of what my point is to get across. Why? And this is without notes. This is without me having a script, right? Why? Why can I do that? Because I see in pictures, right? It's like a movie. And so as I'm talking to you guys and trying to communicate it verbally as best I can, in my mind, I'm seeing it in pictures. And so it's so clear to me, those connections that I'm trying to get across, right? Cut frame, dissolve into this, dissolve into that, wrap it back around, bring it back to the beginning, give another layer, bring it around again, come back halfway, bring it more toward the end. All of that is happening in real time in my head, right? As I'm talking to you guys. So with that being said, if you want to hear more, go back and watch it again. If you have something to say, put it in the comments. Stitch this to something else. I want to hear your feedback. Make sure you tag me because I will listen. I will watch your video where you rip what I'm saying up. Meaning test it. Right? Test what I'm saying. Test any video I've made. Again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm the authority. What I'm saying is I'm giving you a different mindset, a different thought process, a different way to view from a different perspective, right? Change your perception of what's around you and what you have access to and who you are and what you can be. Because what you can be is the best version of yourself. And that's by changing your mind, renewing your thought process, looking at the world in a different light. Instead of looking at it this way, change to this way, give yourself a different perspective, and get to the win. What's the win? The win is not bettering or being better than someone else. It's bettering yourself. It's conquering your mind. It's making sure that you know who you are, who you can be, and where you're going, and also who you belong to. So on that note, I just want you to know, if you haven't been introduced to Jesus, hey, anytime that you listen to me talk, that's Jesus working inside of me. So welcome. My name is Rich Bees. This is the Real Rich Bees. Follow me, see me, look at all my videos on all of these, and Rich Bees is now out.